At that particular time, yes, I was pastoring.
Right. What was your role in the movement? How did you actually get started? What were the first things?
Well, how I really got started in a big way in the movement was as a result of my speaking to my congregation and anybody I could, telling them that it was unconstitutional to be segregated on buses, and I instructed our people to sit down wherever there's a seat. If you pay your money, don't get up for any white people. You know, if you get on, if there is a seat, you sit down. And little did I know, Bull Connor was monitoring my service.
You were actually encouraging people to break the law.
Well, I felt that the law was unconstitutional, and I didn't try to hide that, and it was unconstitutional, and I preached it everywhere I went, and they had dates where I had said it, and of course they came to my job at the Phoenix building one morning, and they sent for me to come to the office, and these two detectives were there, and they handcuffed me and carried me out. I didn't know why I was being arrested.
And why were you being arrested?
For urging, allegedly, a boycott of a legal business.
That was the charge.
That was the charge.
Because boycotts were illegal at the time.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
However, as we went on through the courts, we found out that the law that they arrested me under had been repealed in 1940. However, I was sentenced to 6 months at hard labor and fined $500, which I appealed and had to go to the Alabama Circuit Court of Appeals. I was represented by attorney, our former Chief Justice, Arthur Oscar Adams Jr. He represented me. And of course, I had the backing and support of the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights.
Approximately what year were you arrested?
This was approximately 1956, I believe, just about the same year the movement.
Just the beginning of the movement.
Wasn't long.
Okay,
Got involved very early. It was 56 or 57.
So I assume then that you attended the mass meetings on a regular basis.
I didn't miss.
Can you describe to me what the typical mass meeting was like?
Just like a revival. Singing, praying, shouting, proclamation, inspiration, aspiration that came from each meeting. We had a minister to preach. His choir would sing. Additionally, we had the movement choir that was started by such people as Miss Palmer, Freddie Palmer and her mother, Bo Gay, Mr. Frazier, and later Reverend Nathaniel Lee came in and took it over. And a few years later, Mr. Carlton Reese came in. And but it was always very, very exciting, and we always look forward to words of inspiration and guidance coming from Dr. Fred Shuttlesworth. He always had a message to inspire the people, and we would always go forth from that place very inspired, wanting to hurry and get back, to do whatever he told us we ought to do.
Did the kind of fervor that was developing in the mass meetings on Monday night, did this have an impact upon how black ministers were preaching in their pulpits on Sunday?
Let me say it did have an effect on how a segment of them preached, but we still had some who they called Uncle Tom, who said you ought to leave this alone. But many of us were inspired as a result of the movement, and it continued to spread. And as a result of that, our people were inspired, and each week the churches were just running over. We got to the point where we had to start using more than one church on a given night.
You had mentioned that you were monitored by Bull Connor in your sermons. How were you monitored? Did he come to the service?
No, he undoubtedly had people there reporting because he knew what I said on different dates on this Sunday, that night, and all of that at my church in particular. And things moved on to the point where he started sending policemen to the service at my church.
To your Sunday
Yes,
services?
sir, to my Sunday services. They would park out, sometime one car, 2 and 3, right out in front of the church, intimidating the parishioners. So that went on for a long time.
Did you ever have an idea of who was reporting back to Bull Connor?
Yes, we found out there's a group of disgruntled people in the church who were reporting to him. We were able to secure the names of those persons who were not too happy with my leadership, and I assume that they found those people and were certainly able to use them. Some of them testified against me at my trial, and some of them didn't even know how to use the word boycott. Say, he told us we were going to have a Boy Scout. So, but they knew exactly what they were talking about.
Did they return to your church after testifying against you?
Oh yes, oh yes, yes they did.
Were other churches impacted upon in the same way that your church was? Were there others that had the police to come out and sit and attempt to intimidate?
To my knowledge, I don't know. I'm not saying there weren't, but to my knowledge, I don't have a reporting of them doing that in any other church other than the police attending our mass meetings.
Right. Now, they didn't actually attend your church service.
Well, there were occasions when they did come in.
Oh, was that right? And
actually came in and sat down, and I preached until heaven bells would ring, and they would basically act very nice. I recall we had a business meeting scheduled. They came to the business meeting. They thought the people going to get rid of me that night, and they were there to encourage it on. But God smiled on us. And of course, the movement stood by me, and I also contacted the Justice Department in Washington, D.C., and they investigated the situation. I don't know how they did, but they investigated. A period of time, I got a communication from them which stated that I may wish to take injunctive proceedings, which I did secure a lawyer to institute injunctive proceedings against the people who they had disturbing our church service, getting up, walking across in front of the pulpit when I'd get up to preach, and doing things to disrupt. And that did bring us somewhat our relief.
Right. Were you or your family